The relationship between Iran and the United States has been strained for decades, marked by periods of cooperation and open hostility. This complex and often tumultuous relationship has roots that go back to the mid-20th century, with each decade bringing its own set of challenges and confrontations. Understanding this history is crucial to comprehending the current state of affairs between the two nations. The 1953 coup d'état, where the US and UK orchestrated the overthrow of Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, cast a long shadow over bilateral relations. This event is often cited as the starting point of deep-seated mistrust. Mossadegh's nationalization of the Iranian oil industry had angered Western powers, leading to a covert operation that would have lasting repercussions. The coup not only altered Iran's political landscape but also sowed seeds of resentment that would grow over the years. The 1979 Islamic Revolution and the subsequent hostage crisis, where 52 American diplomats and citizens were held captive for 444 days, further deepened the animosity. The revolution marked the end of the pro-Western monarchy and the beginning of the Islamic Republic, fundamentally changing Iran's foreign policy. The hostage crisis was a dramatic and highly publicized event that humiliated the United States and solidified Iran's image as an adversary in the American psyche. The Iran-Iraq War of the 1980s saw the US supporting Iraq, further exacerbating tensions. This 8-year conflict was devastating for both countries, but the US's decision to back Saddam Hussein's Iraq against Iran added another layer of hostility. The war left deep scars and contributed to the narrative of American interference in the region, a sentiment that continues to influence Iranian public opinion. The US accused Iran of supporting terrorism and pursuing nuclear weapons, imposing sanctions that have crippled Iran's economy. These accusations have been a major sticking point in US-Iran relations, with each side accusing the other of bad faith. The sanctions, aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear ambitions, have had a profound impact on the Iranian economy, affecting everything from healthcare to everyday goods. This economic pressure has only fueled anti-American sentiment within Iran. Despite brief periods of detente, such as the nuclear deal negotiated under President Obama in 2015, mistrust has persisted. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, was a landmark agreement aimed at limiting Iran's nuclear capabilities in exchange for lifting some sanctions. While it was hailed as a diplomatic breakthrough, it faced criticism from hardliners in both countries. The deal showed that diplomacy was possible, but it also highlighted the fragility of such agreements. The US withdrawal from the nuclear deal in 2018 under President Trump and the subsequent reinstatement of sanctions have brought relations to a new low. This move was seen as a betrayal by Iran and led to a resurgence of hostilities. The reimposition of sanctions has further strained the Iranian economy and increased tensions in the region. The withdrawal also undermined the credibility of diplomatic efforts, making future negotiations even more challenging. The assassination of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in 2020 by a US drone strike marked a dangerous escalation, bringing the two countries to the brink of war. Soleimani was a key figure in Iran's military and political landscape, and his death was a significant blow to the Iranian regime. The strike led to a series of retaliatory actions and heightened the risk of a full-scale conflict. This event underscored the volatility of US-Iran relations and the potential for rapid escalation. The historical baggage of mistrust and animosity continues to fuel tensions, making any path towards reconciliation a perilous and uncertain one. Decades of conflict, intervention, and mutual suspicion have created a complex web of grievances that are not easily untangled. Both nations have their own narratives and justifications, making compromise difficult. The legacy of past actions looms large, influencing current policies and public perceptions. The possibility of miscalculation and the potential for conflict remain high, demanding careful diplomacy and a commitment to de-escalation from both sides. The stakes are incredibly high, not just for the US and Iran, but for the entire Middle East and the world. Effective communication, mutual respect, and a willingness to understand each other's perspectives are essential for any hope of lasting peace. The road ahead is fraught with challenges, but the pursuit of stability and security must remain a priority. The Persian Gulf region is witnessing a concerning military buildup, primarily driven by the United States. This strategic area, known for its significant oil reserves and crucial shipping lanes, has always been a focal point of geopolitical tensions. The recent escalation, however, marks a notable increase in military activities and deployments. In recent months, the U.S. has significantly increased its military presence in the region, citing concerns over Iran's nuclear program and its support for regional proxies. This buildup includes the establishment of new military bases, the deployment of additional troops, and the positioning of advanced military hardware. The U.S. government argues that these measures are necessary to maintain stability and protect its interests and allies in the region. The deployment of advanced fighter jets, including F-35S to Saudi Arabia, and B-2 bombers to Diego Garcia, signals a heightened state of readiness. These aircraft are equipped with cutting-edge technology, capable of conducting precision strikes and intelligence-gathering missions. Their presence in the region serves as a powerful deterrent to potential adversaries and demonstrates the U.S.'s commitment to maintaining air superiority. The U.S. Navy has also bolstered its presence in the Persian Gulf, with the USS Truman Carrier Strike Group conducting exercises in the Red Sea. These naval operations are designed to ensure freedom of navigation and to project power across the region. The presence of such a formidable naval force underscores the strategic importance of the Persian Gulf and the U.S.'s determination to safeguard its maritime interests. The deployment of Patriot and THAAD missile defense systems to the region, particularly to countries like Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates, is a strategic move to counter potential missile attacks from Iran or its allies. These advanced defense systems are capable of intercepting and neutralizing incoming threats, thereby enhancing the security of U.S. forces and their allies. The presence of these systems also serves as a clear message to Iran about the U.S.'s defensive capabilities. The U.S. has also strengthened its military ties with regional partners, conducting joint military exercises with Israel and increasing military aid to countries like Saudi Arabia. These collaborative efforts are aimed at improving interoperability and readiness among allied forces. Joint exercises provide valuable training opportunities and help build trust and coordination between the U.S. and its partners, ensuring a unified response to any potential threats. This military buildup, while intended to deter Iran and reassure allies, carries the risk of further escalating tensions in the region. The increased military presence could be perceived as a provocative act by Iran, potentially leading to a cycle of retaliation and counter-retaliation. The delicate balance of power in the Middle East means that any misstep could have far-reaching consequences. The increased military presence could be misinterpreted by Iran, leading to miscalculations and an unintended spiral into conflict. Diplomatic efforts must continue alongside military preparedness to ensure that tensions do not escalate into open hostilities. The international community watches closely, hoping for a resolution that maintains peace and stability in this volatile region. Iran, facing increasing pressure from the U.S. and its allies, has responded with its own display of military might and a deepening of strategic partnerships. Tehran has fortified its positions on islands in the Persian Gulf, strategically important locations that could be used to disrupt shipping lanes vital to global oil supplies. In a show of defiance, Iran has conducted joint military drills with Russia and China. These exercises involving naval and air forces are a clear signal of Iran's growing military cooperation with these powerful nations. The drills serve as a warning to the U.S. and its allies that Iran is not isolated and is prepared to defend its interests. Iran has also ramped up its rhetoric, with officials issuing threats against neighboring countries seen as supporting U.S. military action. There have also been reports of simulated nuclear strikes, a worrying sign of Iran's willingness to escalate tensions. Iran's response to the U.S. military buildup is a dangerous game of brinkmanship. While intended to deter aggression and project strength, it increases the risk of miscalculation and unintended escalation. Israel, viewing a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential threat, plays a critical role in the escalating tensions. The Israeli government has long maintained that a nuclear-capable Iran would pose an unacceptable risk to its national security and regional stability. This perspective is deeply rooted in historical conflicts and the ongoing geopolitical rivalry between the two nations. It has repeatedly stated its willingness to take unilateral military action against Iran's nuclear facilities and has already conducted airstrikes against Iranian air defenses in recent years. These preemptive strikes are part of a broader strategy to disrupt Iran's military capabilities and delay its nuclear program. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, have been meticulously planning and executing these operations, often with significant intelligence support. Israel's stance is a significant factor in the current situation. The country's leadership, including its military and intelligence agencies, is deeply involved in shaping its national security policies. High-level meetings and strategic discussions are frequently held to assess the evolving threat landscape and to coordinate responses. It views war with Iran as inevitable, and is actively pushing the U.S. to take a more aggressive stance. Israeli officials have been lobbying their American counterparts, emphasizing the urgency of the threat and the need for a coordinated response. This diplomatic pressure is part of a broader effort to align U.S. and Israeli policies on Iran. Joint military exercises between the U.S. and Israel, involving advanced fighter jets and bombers, send a clear message of preparedness for a potential conflict. These exercises are not just about showcasing military might, they are also about enhancing interoperability and readiness. The drills often simulate complex scenarios, including airstrikes on fortified targets and defense against missile attacks. Public opinion in Israel largely supports taking military action against Iran, even without direct U.S. backing. Surveys indicate that a significant portion of the Israeli population believes that preemptive strikes are necessary to ensure national security. This public sentiment is influenced by a combination of historical experiences, media coverage, and political rhetoric. This domestic pressure further complicates the situation, as it could embolden Israeli leaders to act independently, potentially dragging the U.S. into a wider conflict. The Israeli government must balance its strategic objectives with the need to maintain public support, which can sometimes lead to more aggressive posturing. Israel's involvement in any potential conflict has the potential to ignite a regional war, with devastating consequences for the Middle East and beyond. The ripple effects of such a conflict could lead to widespread instability, humanitarian crises, and a surge in refugee movements. Neighboring countries would likely be drawn into the fray, further escalating the violence. Its stance, driven by its own security concerns, adds another layer of complexity to the already volatile relationship between the U.S. and Iran. The intricate web of alliances, rivalries, and historical grievances makes the situation highly unpredictable. As both nations navigate this precarious landscape, the international community watches closely, aware that any misstep could have far-reaching consequences.